Hey everybody, what's up? Rob here, coming live from Houston, Texas, doing my weekly vlog, and just want to jump into it. I call it this week "Crush Your Quarantine" because I wanted to talk about ways that you can maximize this time, things you should be thinking about, things you should be doing to hopefully turn this what seemingly negative situation into something that's positive. What's up, Ray Fritz? How's it going, Sherika, Karen, and Karen? How are you? So anyway, I wanted to talk about it because, for me, I feel like I have a lot of experience in this because when I became a believer, when I became a Christian, I had to drop my friends. I quit my job as a promoter, and I broke up with my girlfriend to pursue a life of not having sex before marriage. And I basically quarantined a lot. Now, of course, I went to work, and I went to the gym and things like that. But I had to learn a new way of life, and I was spending a lot of time alone, and I learned how to turn that into a positive for myself, even though it was extremely difficult. And so one of the things that we've really been wrestling with City Fam, how's it going, Steve Choi, Kimberly Crave, is how do we serve the people that in City Fam the best? Because obviously City Fam is all about community. It's all about, getting together, doing social events, doing service events. So how are we serving our people the best? And we want to continue to help them do life together, even in spite of this quarantine. And we've kind of came up with some solutions, which I'll talk about in a little bit. But right now this is a new way of life to millions of Americans, and billions of people actually across the world. They're being forced to stay in their house like rats and just kind of figure it out. They're not able to do all their normal routine and go to work possibly, or go to the gym or whatever, even get a haircut. So I came up with a few things that I think that has worked for me as a way to maximize this time off. And the first thing is that I want to share is you have to keep a routine. So if you don't follow a routine now, I'm going to post my routine in the comments of this video after I stop. And there's been a couple days on this quarantine where I didn't follow my routine. I slept in, I didn't work out, I didn't really have to be in the office in any particular time, but what happened is it threw my entire day off, and I ended up getting depressed, and I ended up becoming not productive at all. I wasn't able to function at a high level that day. What I suggest everyone out there does, if you don't already have a routine, that you establish a morning routine, because it'll help you set the tone for your day. So what I do for me is, mine really quickly is I get up, I drink water. I drink a big cup of water with lemon and lime juice and some sea salt. I make my coffee, I go into my room, I sit on my bed with my coffee, and I do a little bit of quiet time where I talk to God. I read a little bit of the Word, I visualize, and then sometimes I write gratitude. And then I go work out, and then I go take a shower, in a Scottish shower, which is, I turn it all the way to cold for the last 30 seconds to a minute. And then I get ready and I have breakfast. And that's how I start pretty much every day for the past several years. So when I don't do that, it really has thrown me off. And if you're now in a position where you're like, okay, you don't have to be to work at 9 a.m., so now you're like, okay, so I'm sleeping a couple hours later, and you're not, even if you didn't have you had some kind of routine before, even if it wasn't my routine, you were getting up and you were going to work. So now you're not going to work. Maybe you don't have to work. Maybe you're working from home. So you're automatically off. So I think that my first suggestion for people out there is to establish a good, solid routine now if you don't have one, and stick to it. It requires discipline, obviously, because you're just going to have to, if you're not having to be to work, if you don't have the threat of getting fired, you're just going to have to motivate yourself. But that's the first thing that I recommend. The second thing that I recommend is to really figure out what it is that you want most right now. Because, so this is a unique opportunity. You have to look at it that way, okay? Millions of people are in their house and they're not able to, maybe they're not allowed to go to work, or they're not able to go to the gym, or they're not able to do numerous other things. They're not able to go to a bar if that was their thing, or whatever even their social outlet is. So this is a really unique opportunity because you're having to sit still and figure out other things to do with your time. So, I feel like, again, myself having been, single and waiting, if you will, for the past several years, I had to figure out something to do with that time. And that's really when I decided to write the book, because I didn't have anything else to do. And I didn't want to not be productive. I didn't want to just sit around and waste that time, just going, watching television or whatever. So, I know there's a lot of people out there watching Tiger King and all that, and I watched actually a couple episodes too. Not saying don't have any social, but don't sit around watching television and waste this opportunity that's in front of you. This is a great time to figure out what it is that you want most, and then how can you move the needle forward now, given the circumstances that we're in. What are the things you could be doing? I'll share something with you. I was in the UK recently, and things started to unravel with the tour. And we ended up at a monastery in the countryside, and, we were safe. People were healthy. They fed us 2 meals a day. I had a roof over my head, but there was no internet and there was no television, and all the events started to cancel mostly because of the coronavirus. So then I thought to myself, like, what am I going to do? I mean, I'm not the kind of person that's going to just sit around and sleep all day. Not to mention, you can only sleep so long. So it forced me to think to myself, okay, what is the one thing I could do? And I started to write a second book back in June of 2019 that I put on the shelf because I just had too many other things going on. And it was really the only thing that I could think of. I'm like, this is the only thing that I could think to do that will move the needle forward in the things that I want most. So I started to rewrite the book, and now I'm pretty far ahead where I think I could be done in the next month or two. So I guess my challenge to you is figure out what it is you want most. Maybe you want to start a business. You're going to find a lot of people right now are going to lose their job because of this slowdown. And this would be a great time to be thinking about, okay, maybe to get that business started that you've always wanted to do. Write that book that you've always wanted to write. Maybe you wanted to learn a language or take an online course or whatever it is. Now's a great time to do it. Don't sit around watching television or guys jerking off or whatever it is that, you could do that isn't going to produce anything in your life to what you really want. So figure it out now. Again, staying on a routine is going to be key, because if you start your day with a routine, then you'll be automatically in that zone and you'll be now wanting to be productive. The third thing that I would say to do is form community. So, again, I went through this. People are having a big change in their lifestyle right now. They're not able to go out and maybe hang out with their friends. And they're finding maybe that some of those people aren't maybe as good of friends as they thought they were. Because this is what happened for me, is when I started to make positive changes, I realized I didn't have a whole lot of friends, really. I had a lot of people that I just partied with. And when I wasn't partying with them, or I didn't have something to offer them, then my phone stopped ringing. And that's when it was actually kind of shocking to me, because they felt like we were really good friends, but we were really just people that partied together. So I would say now's a great time to form community, form some real friendships, some good people, surround yourself with some good people. And, City Fam is a great place. If you're looking for community, I definitely recommend people going over there, but nothing's for everyone. You find a group that you can start to plug in with and do life with, even if it is virtually. And those are, how I define healthy community is any group of people or a person that inspires you to be the best version of yourself. So if you're hanging out with people and they're not inspiring you to be a better version of yourself, then that's not healthy community. That's not the kind of people that you want to surround yourself with. So those are the three things that I would do now with your time off. Establish a routine, a morning routine. I'm going to post mine in the comments below, or the description, depending on where you're watching this. The second thing to do is figure out what you want most, and then figure out what it is you can do right now with this time to move the needle forward. Now, obviously, there's going to be lots of things that you can't do, but there's going to be something that you can do because of now. I love the quote from Think and Grow Rich, which says, every adversity has the seed of an equal or greater benefit. So everything that comes at you that's hard, every challenge that you face has a seed of an equal or greater benefit. Okay, you just have to figure out what that is. Now, obviously, it's going to be challenging with this, but there is something that you could do right now because you're in your house, and you won't be able to do it later. And the goal really is when we come out of this mess, however long it's going to be, I don't think it's going to be by Easter. I think it could be a lot longer than that. and only time will tell. But you want to be able to hit the ground running and be like, wow, I really made the most of that quarantine time. And it was because of that I was able to get to this place or get to these things that I really want most. I thank God for the things that he put me through with, when he took me out of the club scene and I was single and I wasn't having sex and I was lonely as hell and there was just nothing for me to do and there was no one to do it with. And it forced me to start City Fam because I needed community. I couldn't hang out with my bar friends anymore. The church people were great. They were nice, but they were boring. And I was like, where are the people that I can relate to? How am I supposed to, do life? And I was forced to start this group with Billy Lofton. And thank God, because it's become now my passion. But it was because of that adversity that I went through that forced me to do that. Again, when I went through this period of waiting, God wasn't giving me a wife. I was lonely. There was nothing to do besides write a book. I wrote the book because I was trying to attract resources for City Fam and no one was giving us any money. So I thought, well, maybe if I write a book, I'll be able to get on some podcasts or something and maybe somebody will hear me on a podcast and make a donation to City Fam. It was that adversity of not being able to get money and being single and God not giving me a wife that forced me to write the book, which actually became my greatest blessing. So I'm challenging you guys to figure it out. What is it that you want most right now? What adversity, the adversity obviously is this coronavirus, but how can you use the adversity to move the needle forward in those areas? And then the third thing, form community. Again, the last thing is, as you figure out what you want most, why all this works together so well, is as you figure out what you want most, if you surround yourself with good people, they will help you get to that place. If you surround yourself with selfish people, like I used to do, those people don't help each other. They're crabs in a bucket. Everyone's using each other. When you surround yourself with good people that, aren't completely selfish, they tend to pitch in when you need them. And trust me, I've lived this, so I know. I've had people lend me cars. I've had people donate their time to be on my board. I've had people give money to the organization. I've had people share my posts and introduce me to other people because I surrounded myself with good people. Now, I had to change the way that I was living and be a good person and sacrifice for them too when they needed it, but that was the way the community worked. As you figure out what you want most, you're going to need to surround yourself with some good people if you're going to get there. So again, City Fam is a great place to look for that, but again, nothing's for everyone. So if you can find it somewhere else, by all means, find it wherever you can. So I say all that to say two things. We got some really cool stuff coming up. City Fam, that is. We are wanting to help people get connected, stay connected, get on a routine, and not fall into depression or hopelessness or whatever. So tomorrow we start a whole campaign basically called Crush Your Quarantine. Every morning we're going to be doing workouts. So either going to be live or pre-recorded at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I highly recommend you to get on those workouts as often as you can because it will jumpstart your day. It'll get your blood moving, and it just gives you a feeling of accomplishment so you can get busy on doing whatever it is you have to do that day. Every day at noon, we're going to do a roll call. We're going to check in on people. We're going to let everyone kind of talk to each other, see how everybody's doing, see if there's any needs, how can we support each other. Every night, we're going to do something social. So tomorrow night, we're going to do a movie night. And I think I put a poll out earlier, and it's looking like the movie is going to be Indiana Jones and what was the first one? Not the Temple of Doom, but I can't remember. Anyway, it's the first Indiana Jones movie. I think that's going to be the one that wins. So we're going to do that at 8:30 p.m. tomorrow night Eastern Standard Time. So if you go to the City Fam group page and you join, you'll get all of the details for how to join us for that movie. Tuesday we're going to do like a hobby night. We may even teach people how to make their own masks at some point. Wednesday we're going to do a virtual happy hour Wednesday night. Thursday, we're going to do a food and drink night. And Friday, we're going to do a virtual Renegade with City Fam members from all over the world. We're actually going to have a music trivia contest for people. And it's just going to be a way for us to help people stay connected. And Lost Ark, thank you. Raiders of the Lost Ark. Thank you, Kimberly. But it's just a way to get everybody connected and, doing life together in spite of a quarantine. Again, that was my biggest challenge. When I became a believer, church was great. I went on Sundays and I was learning about God, but I was bored as a mother the rest of the week. There was nothing to do and no one to do it with. And that's the problem that we're trying to solve. And we want to help you do it even during a quarantine. So go to the City Fam group page, request to join. We'll add you right in. If you have friends that need community, that are, especially if you know people that are quarantined and alone right now, add them into the group. They are going to need this more than ever. The next thing that I'm doing personally, separate from City Fam, is I'm leading a virtual small group on my book, Why Waiting Works. It's going to be called The Truth About Sex. It starts tomorrow, Monday at 3 p.m. Central Standard Time, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, if that's the time zone you're in. And I'm going to be taking people through the curriculum of my book. We're going to do an accelerated version. So instead of it being 8 weeks, we're going to do it in 8 days. We're literally going to do it every day for almost 8 days straight. The thing that I'm really excited about with that is I think we have about 42 people in there already, in the small group already, but we are going to do, part of the curriculum is a social event. So on week 5, you actually do a social event. Now you're supposed to do it in person with people. We're going to have all the people that are in the Why Waiting Works small group, we're going to have them promote the City Fam Renegade and join us for that. So we're going to have literally people from all over the world doing a virtual Renegade on Friday night. It's going to be awesome. So if you want to be part of the virtual small group, you can go ahead and drop me a message, and I will post. Actually, you know what I'll do? I'll post the link to the small group. Oh, I'm sorry. I'll post the link to the private Facebook group as a comment below. If you want to join, you go ahead and join. You're going to need to read the first 2 chapters of the book by tomorrow. They're short chapters. It'll only take you about 30 minutes, and you can get a free copy of the book by going to whywaitingworks.net. Not .com, whywaitingworks.net. You have to pay for shipping and handling to get the paperback version, but you'll get the ebook for free as a bonus the moment that you order. So, yeah, that kicks off tomorrow at 3 p.m. Central Standard Time. The Truth About Sex virtual small group, be led by me. I actually didn't want to. I promised myself I would never lead a small group on the book because I didn't want people to feel intimidated to disagree with me. But most of the people I think that are joining the small group are from the Why Waiting Works community, so they're probably already waiting. But all that being said, if you're out there and you're like, man, Rob's full of shit, you know, I don't agree with that stance or whatever, I still welcome you to join. I actually don't mind when people disagree with me. It makes the conversation richer. But so if you're not there yet, by all means, that's not a prerequisite, you know, that you have a stance on purity for you to join. So again, those 2 things. Crush Your Quarantine kicks off tomorrow on the City Fam group page. The Truth About Sex virtual small group kicks off also tomorrow in the afternoon, and you can hit the link on this post. After I get done, there'll be a comment with a link on this post, or you can just drop me a message and I'll send it to you. But again, you'll need to read the first 2 chapters, and you can go get a free copy of the paperback by going to whywaitingworks.net. So that's it. Hope you guys have a great Sunday. And, you know, if there's anything I can do for you, reach out, and we'll get through all this together. All right? See ya.